one-on-one on the Boston set of The Town. The Town is the hometown of the film's writer, director, and star, Ben Affleck. One minute he's calling the shots, the next he's firing the shots. Affleck was on this town 24 hours a day.
I didn't sleep that much during this movie, unfortunately, but I am quite a sleeper. I'm actually kind of a legendary sleeper, so don't you worry. The couch knows the feel of my body, knows its outline. So I get my sleep.
Ms. Kesey, I would like to start with your abduction.
In The Town, Affleck directs Affleck and Friends in this true story of bank robbers in Charlestown.
They took me as a hostage.
Were you able to see anything at all through the blindfold?
No.
Well, Charlestown was about 2 miles away from where I grew up, and except it was kind of worlds apart. You know, we knew about these towny kids, and they were super tough. They played hockey with a lot of kids I went to grade school with who played hockey, and ended up going to some of the private Catholic schools. So there was the kids I knew from Charlestown, but we knew, like I said, that you wouldn't want to get in a fight with them, and that they had this code of silence going on where over a period of years they had about 50 murders and only 25% were solved. That was really scary. I knew a little bit less about the bank robbery, and so when I came back, I did a lot of studying about that, and I was really struck by what I found, particularly a period in the 90s that was just off the hook, just rampant guys knocking over armed trucks, crews doing so many jobs. It was kind of amazing.
When someone endures an experience like this, there are often residual effects.
Okay.
Just having a bad week.
I like to have a good cry at the nail salon. Why don't you let me buy you a drink?
And I sort of pushed that up a decade or so forward, and surrounded this movie with that sort of that feel and that vibe and that environment.
There are over 300 bank robberies in Boston every year. Most of these professionals live in a 1 square mile neighborhood called Charlestown.
So do your parents still live here?
My mother moved away. My father, he don't get out much.
All this stuff about Boston was wonderful, and I liked it because it brought me home, and it was also kind of a crutch because I knew a lot about it, so I could kind of fall back on stuff and pull interesting things out, or I wouldn't have been able to make a movie in Toronto or Arkansas or France. Action! I got the chance to shoot in Fenway Park, for this robbing Fenway Park, and I got the chance to shoot in the North End, and I got the chance to shoot in Charlestown. These iconic places. Even shot a little bit in Cambridge where I grew up. So this is sort of a bonus, and it was exciting for me, but I definitely stay focused on the fact that this has to be a movie that the audience likes watching every minute.
I'm thinking about making a change.
Making a change. Either you got heat or you don't.
Boston is a star, and Affleck was also able to cast a few actors who are now the toast of the town in Hollywood.
I'm putting this whole town in my rearview. You grew up right here. Same rules that I did.
Gus Van Sant told me that directing was 90% casting, and I tend to agree. I mean, Renner, Ham, Blake, Becca, Pete, and Chris were all just fabulous. So they make the movie much better just by showing up to work, having a cup of coffee in the morning.
You and your boys didn't just roll a Star Market over in Malden for a box of quarters. No, you decided to bang it out in the North End at 9 o'clock in the morning with assault rifles. You dummies shot a guard.
Getting coffee in the morning, John Hamm, best known as Mad Men's Don Draper.
This guard has miraculously clung to life. Now, if it were up to me, and they gave me 2 minutes and a wet towel, I would personally asphyxiate this half-wit so we could string you up on a federal M1 and end this story with a bag on your head and a paralyzing agent running through your veins.
Well, in movies where someone who's a criminal is the protagonist, oftentimes they make the law enforcement person the antagonist so unappealing because they think, oh, well, we don't have the audience to root for this guy. But I wanted to try having a guy who we did root for, who we liked, who kind of felt like the hero of the movie. And so to have somebody with some edge, who was tough, but also strangely likable in a way, and even though he's doing something that is chasing our guy that we're supposed to like, I couldn't think of anyone better. He's just infinitely likable, but he's a real man. He's a man's man, and he kind of gets it, and he comes across in a very sort of imposing but likable but sharp way. I can't imagine what I would have done if he said no. I would have been screwed.
The Town is considered a comeback film for Ben Affleck, and there's already Oscar buzz for this film.
If I think anything might happen to her, I'm gonna kill both of you.
I'd like to keep acting and directing, and that's what I'll do as long as I have the opportunity to. Directing, you know, luckily I can be in movies that I direct, I suppose, or not.
Are you in love with me?
Yes.
The only problem with acting and directing is that directing takes so much time. It can kind of tilt you in one direction.
She's the one person that can give us the facts.
She didn't see anything. Get that in your head.
No, I'm going to go act in a movie now, so it doesn't, you know, you're able to do stuff in between directing jobs.
Go, go! I just want you to know that you're going to die in federal prison. I'll see you again, this side or the other.